Overture, curtain lights, this is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every part by heart. Overture, curtain lights, this is it. We'll hit the heights, and oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show, this is it.
Hey everybody, it's Goose with On With The Show, back again another week of talking about movies, TV, and some local community theater. And let me tell you something, I've been having a blast this week because the reason I've been having a blast this week is because I've been working backstage at the Bakersfield Community Theater and getting one of their shows together called The Boxcar Children. And it's such a blessing for me to work on this, especially children's shows, because this is when we really, when they're young and they want to really, really explore something artistically, this is a great time to get it. With this particular show, it starts tonight, May 4th at the Bakersfield Community Theater, 2400 South Chester. The parking is in the rear. And it goes for one show tonight, has two shows tomorrow, matinee and an evening show, and then it has a Sunday, a matinee show. I really highly recommend you go and support these kids. The greatest thing about this, and here's something that's unique that I've never come across before, and I've been hoping to talk to someone about it, but they decided to use two casts for this show. Now, I don't know why. I would love to find that out, but this will give you a chance. If you really want to, you can see one cast tonight and tomorrow afternoon, and then see the next cast tomorrow night and then Sunday afternoon. And you get a chance to see two different shows with two different groups of kids, and it's just a delight. I've been backstage working with them, running their lines, helping them with their blocking, really, really trying to get them through this Tech Week. Tech Week can be crazy. Any of you out there who's ever done theater, you know Tech Week and dress rehearsals are crazy, because this is the first time where you actually put the show together and you actually see how it runs and you actually see how it goes. And for a lot of us adults, we got no problem with that because we're used to doing these shows. We've done shows, many, many, many shows. And the great thing is when I was talking with some of these kids, I asked them, how many of you, this is your first show? And I only had two kids in this one group say this was their first show. And I asked them, well, how many shows have you done? And some of them said 5, 7, 10, 15. One kid said it was his 27th show. And I couldn't believe, at this point, these kids are veterans. They know what's going on. The crazy part about it is that because rehearsals can kind of go crazy, can go long, and they're on a school night, and especially this week, I hear a lot of parents are kind of like, well, they're testing this week. We got to get them home early. Yeah, that's great, but they're in rehearsals. My son Logan, who's in one of the casts, he's involved in North High baseball. He took a week off from North High because this is a crucial week for him to rehearsals, and it can be really, 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 really crazy about because he'll get there sometimes at 5:30, won't leave till 9:30. He can be super tired. I mean, it can be, and not only that, my daughter's also in this show, and it can just be absolutely, it can be really super stressful for parents. Hey, Tyler, you remember when you worked backstage for West Tech? Was it West Texas?
Yeah. Actually, I think it was that one show.
The one show?
Something about Christmas.
Yeah, it's called West Texas Christmas Carol, and my older son Tyler, he worked backstage. He helped move sets around because it was really common. It was like they were rotating sets on this stage, and it could be pretty crazy. And I think at one point, did one of them hit you in the foot? Yeah. And he's, and it was, but those are the kind of things that happen when you work in a show, and they're delightful, and that's one of the reasons why, as a parent, you've really, really got to get behind your kids. I kind of view being a theater parent as also being like a coach, a sports coach, because I've done both. I've coached baseball and I've done theater, and all these kind of hours, and it can be absolutely crazy. But the kids need your support, you adults, your parents, just as much in the theater as just as much as they would on the soccer field or the baseball field or the football field. We always seem to want to really support our kids when it comes to sports, but when it comes to these long rehearsals, and I understand, parents, I know you're busy. My wife and I, we had a tag team, taking our kids to rehearsals. She would take them one night, I'd take them another night. She'd sometimes drop them off, I'd pick them up. Dinners became whatever we could find on the way there. Some drive-through with, one night it'd be Taco Bell and another night it'd be Jack in the Box. And you know what? That's the life of theater. I've talked to some of my friends where, that's all it is when they're going through big rehearsals. Is that they just don't have a chance to get home and have those home cooked meals. It's especially true with parents. And not only that, when you've got kids, one kid going to a rehearsal, another kid going to a practice, and you're really trying to, being three places at once can be crazy, but it's important. And I encourage any parent out there, if your kid's involved in theater or any type of the fine arts, dancing, anything like that, be there, be backstage with them. They will love it. You would think, oh no, they wouldn't want me around. Trust me, they love it when you're involved. I know my kids love it when I'm involved. And I love working with the kids because I learn just as much from them as they do from me. I learn stuff all the time. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing this show tomorrow. Put that banner back up, Tyler, quick, for the Boxcar Children. Come to this show tonight and see how, it's support local community. Support your local community theater, and especially support your children's theater. Because again, this is where it all starts. These kids they range anywhere from 18 years old to as young as, I think, 9. And they really, really, they put on a great show. I know tonight I think I'm working backstage, and my wife's going to be sitting in the audience. And tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to be sitting in the audience. My wife's going to be working backstage. We really, really love doing this kind of stuff. And I think for any program, you really want to get your kids. And not only that, summer's coming up. So summer's coming up. Find a program that they can get involved with. Community theater. I know some of them don't. Some of them can cost a little bit, maybe a little bit out of your budget. Some don't cost anything at all to get your kids involved, and keep an ear out for all the different auditions that they can do, and many different theaters here in Kern County. Because it's important to get them involved in something, especially during the summer when all they're pretty much is going to be staying at home watching SpongeBob. Is that right, Tyler?
Yes. It gets boring after a while.
I can tease Tyler about that because, I can tease Tyler about SpongeBob because I think he watches about 3 hours of SpongeBob every day, and it can be pretty fun.
Actually 3 hours a night.
3 hours a night of SpongeBob. That drives me crazy if you have to hear that laugh over and over and over again. But in a future episode, Tyler and I are going to be talking. We're going to get his microphone on, and we're actually going to talk some animation later on down the road and get some ideas of what are some of the best animated shows and films that you believe are out there. I know this is a little early for us to go to a break, but we're going to go to a break now. We got a little bit of a shorter show today because, again, I've been so busy. I haven't had a chance to watch a whole lot. But what I have, I think you're going to be interested. Again, I think there's one movie you really want to go check out and one you really want to avoid, okay? We'll be back right after this break. But again, my name is Goose Scott with On With The Show from the beautiful Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame and KernCast.com. We'll get you right on the other side of this.
I choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
If the best criminal attorneys choose Patriot Bail Bonds, who would you choose?
Patriot Bail Bonds. We fight for your freedom.
Your home is perfect. Until it's not. We understand that life has its changes. As your family grows, we're here to help grow with you. Because taking care of your family is important to you and important to us. Your story starts here with Cornerstone Mortgage.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license is not going to suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
Hey everybody, we having fun yet? I'm having a blast. And that's one of the reasons why I do this show. I love talking about movies on TV in theater, especially theater. I love talking about theater. But there were a couple of movies I saw this week. And again, normally I get off a whole slew of films I try to catch up with. But again, I've been working backstage at BCT and trying to get their show, help them get their show together. Michelle Bridges she's going to put on a great show. You got to go see it tonight. But the first movie I'm going to talk about today is a movie that opened today called Overboard. And Overboard, I don't know if it's a reboot or a retelling. Again, it's a redo. It's a redo of a film that was basically done in the 80s. Let me give the 80s version. In the 80s, it was in 1987, and the film was directed by the fabulous Gary Marshall, who's done other films such as A League of Their Own and what's that other one? Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman.
It's hard to remember films from like
kind of. You would think I would remember this stuff sometimes, but it escapes me. Anyway, so what happened was they took real Russell and Goldie Hawn and put them in this great romantic comedy that I actually saw. It was actually a really good film, really funny film. And in the film, Kurt Russell plays a single dad who works in construction, whose wife, I can't remember what passed away or had left him, but he was really having a struggling time. And he goes on this heiress's boat, who's played by Goldie Hawn, and she she treats him poorly, and they have some words, and then all of a sudden, she falls. I think if I remember the first one correctly, I think her husband, either she fell overboard and her husband decided not to claim her, or her husband tried to kill her for the money and threw her overboard. Either way, what happens is her character has no memory, has amnesia, and Kurt Russell decides what he's going to do is make her believe that they're married, and he's going to have her take care of his kids while he works, and in the process they fall in love, and of course in the end she regains her memory and realizes that she was an heiress and she has money and she doesn't mean to be poor, and tries to go back to her old life, but realizes that the new life she has with her man was better. Fast forward 21 years later, not 21 years later, I want to think 31 years later. It was 87, now it's 2018. I'm not good at math, okay? So same. Okay, sometimes it all just kind of like escapes me. Anyway, fast forward to 2018, and it has been switched. And you have Anna Faris, who plays the single mom who has 2 jobs, and she's going through school to become a nurse, and runs into Eugenio Derbez, who I come to find out is a very, very, he's 56 years old, and he's a very well-known actor out of Mexico. And it's crazy enough, I've never heard of him, but today I'm glad I did, because this guy's really good. He's done other films. I think Construction's Not Included, and I think last year he did How to Be a Latin Lover, and he's very, very funny in this. And so he plays the heir to this fortune, this construction fortune out of Mexico. And I like the dynamic of this. I was really nervous, and going into this, not sure what to expect. I was hoping it wasn't going to be a cheesy romantic comedy that they were going to play off of the dynamic of the race, the ethnicity, and all this other stuff. And even though in some places it's kind of obvious, they did it in a way that was tasteful. It comes across. Now, it's kind of the same story, and I'm not going to go. Again, I gave you the basic plot, and there are certain things about romantic comedies that are a given. One, the two of them have to meet. The two of them may or may not like each other in the beginning, but eventually what happens is they get back together, and they eventually fall in love, and then somewhere along the way, they break up, and then they get back together. And now that's the basic premise of a romantic comedy. Watch any romantic comedy, even those that kind of deviate from the plot line or the through line, and you'll still see the same things. The dynamic between Anna Faris and Eugenio Derbez really worked in this film, and you begin to really feel that at one point, even though you know, and even the characters know this is a lie, you really know or believe that they work well together, and that after a little while, you even get an idea that this guy really believes that he is her long lost husband, and it's amazing to see how not only does he grow, but she grows in this really dynamic. Ava Longoria plays her best friend, and it really, really works together. There's a fabulous line in this film that Faris says to Derbez, you've never worked a day in your life. I bet you've never worked a day in your life. And yet she talks him into believing that he works in construction. And he ends up meeting the same guys that uses his construction material to build the houses or whatever it is that they need to build. And I like the ethnic in this. I like the way the script moves. I like the way this thing flows. Everybody in the audience was laughing hysterically. There are certain things about this. Now I grew up in a highly Latino neighborhood, Hispanic neighborhood. I don't know how that works anymore with the Latino to Hispanic. Someone comment and let me know so that I can get this right next time. But they talked about the novellas, and they talk about to be a man, you got to be a man, and they talk about you have to honor, and it's just a great film. It follows the same line, follows the same kind of plot line, but it's very enjoyable to watch. It's worth the money. I give it a very solid B. There's some things in there that again, it only misses an A because it's just not. It's not it's the typical romantic comedy. It's a great date night movie. Guys, take your girlfriends to see this. They'll thank you. And you might, and who knows what may have or go on from there. I'm done. I am totally babbling and digressing. Anyway, moving right along, let's go on to the other film I saw this week. And this was a movie that actually opened last week on Netflix. And it's Adam Sandler and Chris Rock in The Week Of. Now, let me give you an interesting thing about what's been going on with Adam Sandler. He's been on a hit and a miss for years with his movies. Now, I'm one of these rare people that I liked The Ridiculous Six. I thought it was funny. I'm one of the few that thought it was funny. I enjoyed watching The Do-Over, but it wasn't one of those great films. He hit a home run with the Meyerowitz brothers, with Ben Stiller, and Dustin Hoffman. And when I saw that he was doing another movie with Chris Rock, I thought this would be really interesting. It's basically two families that come together for the week of the wedding of their kids. The problem I have is the fact that you get so little of Sandler and Rock together. You begin to wonder what was the purpose of having them. Because Adam Sandler could have had anybody. Could have had Terry Crews. He could have had Rob Schneider. He could have had any number of his friends. He chose Chris Rock. In the past, these guys have had such great chemistry together, especially with comedy. But there's not a whole lot of funny in this film. And it's kind of sad because here's a guy whose career has just gone, it's been like a roller coaster. It's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone sideways, it's done a loop-to-loop. He hasn't know if it's because, I'm beginning to wonder if it's the contract he got into with Netflix. It was like, I better make these movies fast and get my money or whatever. It just seemed like it was, and what makes it even sadder is the fact that I think Adam Sandler co-wrote this film. It just didn't seem funny. And I didn't, and the dynamic between him and Chris Rock just did not work. I will tell you though that Adam Sandler and Rachel Dratch, who is another SNL alum, who was also with him in Click. Dratch plays his wife, and they do a great job of making you believe they're married. They've been married for a long time, and they truly love each other despite their arguments that they have off screen that you can hear. That's one of the weirder things is that you hear this argument throughout this entire house, and it made me remind myself of times when I'm in the other room and I hear somebody arguing in the upstairs. It's absolutely crazy, and I wonder if that was just their theme. Steve Buscemi makes a great appearance, but he's kind of wasted in this film too, and it kind of made me believe that this film was very much contrived. I think you had a great idea, and it could have been done really well, but it was just a huge miss. I really didn't laugh a whole lot in this film, and I'm really, really hoping that Adam Sandler, because what I'm seeing him doing with this film is that he's kind of doing what Steve Martin did years ago. When Steve Martin went away from the crazy comedies and started doing more family-oriented stuff, where he was the father, he was, he kind of reminded me of Father of the Bride, but it just didn't have the same amount of laughs. It didn't have anything going for it and I hate to say that. I mean, I'd like to see another film that he does where he's mature, but it's funny. It makes you, even if it's just a chuckle, even if it's just something that Anyway, so if you're on Netflix, try to avoid this film. This is the second film I've seen from Netflix that has just really disappointed me, and I'm hoping that somewhere along the ways things get a lot better. Okay, before we go, again, I want you to go see it. Put that thing up for the Boxcar Children again, Tyler. I want you to get Boxcar Children tonight is, in fact, I have a poster here. Ooh, look at the poster. Ooh, look at the poster. It comes at you. It's coming straight at you. It's adapted by a book by Gertrude Chandler Warner. And Michelle Bridges. Performances are tonight and tomorrow and Sunday. They're 7 and 8 p.m. and 2 and 4 o'clock for the matinees. The location again is 2400 South Chester Avenue. Parking is in the rear. And for reservations, you want to call 661-831-8114 or go to bakersfield.communitytheater.org for your tickets. Please come out and support our local kids in their artistic efforts. Before we go, one more thing, and if you remember a couple weeks ago, I talked about these guys. Teeny Love. It's Teeny Love. Best of the 80s live. This is May 19th, so this is a couple weeks. We have, and this is at the home of Dennis and Heidi Subaru, 11917 Ash Road here in Bakersfield. General admission is $50. VIP tickets are $150. For more information or the tickets, call Dennis Subaru at 661-747-4132 or go to www.tdlove.com. This is to benefit the Mendaburo Magic Foundation. This is to help people with kids with cancer and serious illnesses. I've had a blast this week. And I'm hoping, and I'm just having fun every day as we keep doing this show. I know I'm babbling on, I'm going crazy, but anyway, I will see you next week. Tyler, just get ready to take us out. My name is Goose Scott. This is On With The Show here at the beautiful Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame and Kerncast.com. Hey, go out this weekend and go catch a show.
Overture, cut the lights. This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every part by heart.